Are you ready for this? In about a week's time, the Chancellor here in the UK is going to stand up, wave a red box and tell us there is no alternative to more tax. We are already paying some of the highest overall tax levels in modern UK history. And yet we are being primed for another round of what they are politely calling tough choices. Translation: stealth taxes, frozen thresholds, sneaky little changes that quietly take more money out of your pocket without actually changing the headline rates. Now, I'm not an economist. I'm certainly no business guru. And if I'm honest, I'm not even that great with numbers. And I'm certainly not saying that cars alone will save the British economy. I'm not that deluded, and I'm definitely not that optimistic. But the car industry, cars and the whole world around them, that is the bit that I actually understand. And if just one industry, this one industry, was treated with a bit of intelligent investment and fewer handbrakes, the numbers suggest it could add billions to the UK economy. So here is my argument. If one sector I know well can contribute this much with the right approach, imagine what happens if you apply the same thinking to other industries. Suddenly, instead of squeezing everybody with micro taxes, you are growing the pie, plugging the government's financial black hole, and actually improving the quality of life for most people. Let me explain what I mean right after this.
A brown car guy.
So first, let's forget feelings, let's talk about facts. In 2024, motor vehicle manufacturing in the UK added about 21 billion to the economy. That is just under 1% of everything that we produce here in the UK. It directly employs 130 to 140, some say 150,000 people, probably actually more. These are high-skill, high-value jobs from engineers to technicians. And that is just the factories. Then there's the sales and repair side of the industry, which includes dealers, service centers, and parts. Add in another 36 billion, say, in 2024. That's about 1.6% of the entire economy. So you already have nearly £6 billion worth of economic activity from just making, selling, and fixing cars here in Britain. Now add in the really fun bits, right? The historic and classic vehicle sector. According to a recent survey, Britain's love of old motors contributes at least £7 billion a year to the economy. That is people spending on maintenance, restoration, storage, events, everything that goes with it. Then you have Motorsport Valley and the wider UK motorsport engineering services industry. One report says that turned over about £16 billion in 2023 and supports more than 50,000 skilled jobs, most of them export driven. And remember, the British automotive sector as a whole is a serious export machine. 80% of cars built here are exported. Cars and parts generate about £47 billion worth of exports, roughly 12% of all UK goods exports. We've had a bad year this year just because Jaguar Land Rover had to shut down for 5 weeks due to somebody hacking them. I've covered that in another video, so you can go check that out. But just that one event alone, that one thing alone, slowed growth in the UK significantly enough to affect the overall economy. So imagine how important the car industry is. Let's recap. Even before we touch any policy levers, you have tens of billions in output every year, hundreds of thousands of jobs, and a big chunk of our export earnings, all tied to one thing: people, designing, building, racing, modifying, repairing, and cherishing cars. Now let's put all of this next to what is coming next week in the autumn budget. Most analysts expect tax rises in disguise. Not necessarily big income hikes in tax or VAT, because these things are politically toxic, but more likely they're going to be things like frozen tax thresholds, tweaks to allowances, maybe changes to capital gains or inheritance rules. These are so-called stealth taxes that quietly drag more and more people into higher tax bands as wages move up. It is already being reported that freezing income tax thresholds alone could raise billions over the next couple of years without a single headline rate changing. Sounds clever on paper for sure, but in real life it means less money in people's pockets and less spending in shops, on cars, and on everything else. So the government is staring at a big black financial hole, and the instinct is, once again, to lean more heavily on tax. Like I said, I'm no economist, but with things the way they are, shouldn't governments be stimulating the economy, not stifling it? Okay, I get it. Public finances are under pressure, debt is high, and somebody has to pay. But there is another angle that barely gets talked about. Instead of asking, who else can we quietly tax, you ask, what can we grow so that tax incomes comes in naturally? And that is where all of this car stuff comes in. Not because cars are magical, well, let's be honest, they are that of course too, but because this is an industry we already know is big, high-tech, export heavy, and full of spin-off activity. Again, I'm not saying cars alone will save the economy, but if you can show how just one sector can add serious extra growth with the right approach, then it does point to a better strategy than, endless stealth taxes being heaved upon us all the time. So let's look at what intelligent investment and de-restriction would actually look like. Let's do that right after this. Hi guys, if you're enjoying this video, finding it useful, then don't forget to hit that like button and share and comment if you can as well, and support independent journalism channels like mine. You can do that at patreon.com, at coffee.com, or right here on YouTube you can take out a voluntary subscription. Or you know what? You can buy my books. I've got 3 out at the moment. One is a fantastic thriller. It's a novel. It's called The Ulysses Files. Go check it out, about the war on cars. And I've got a collection of short stories. That's called Quantum Races, and that's out at the moment. And then this year I put out How to Be an Automotive Content Creator. It's about how to do what I do, and that's all of these are now available on Amazon. If you buy any of those books, I will be very, very grateful. If you buy all 3, I'll put you into a draw to win a unique and exclusive set keyring and Brown Car Guy badge. There are only 17 of these left. There were only 20, 3 have gone out. There's just 17 left now, so hurry up with that. Anyway, now back to the video. So what would intelligent investment and de-restriction actually look like? Now, I'm not talking about, ripping up safety rules or letting everything belch out unleaded fumes like it's 1973. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, say, number 1, stable, realistic, zero emission rules. So clear ZEV mandate paths with enough flexibility that factories can plan model cycles and do not get punished if consumer demand does not move as fast as spreadsheets or the government expects. That kind of uncertainty is what keeps investment and jobs here instead of scaring them off to other countries. Just manufacturers knowing what actually lies ahead rather than chopping and changing the rules all the time. Number 2, fast-track planning and permits. Quicker decisions for new plants, test facilities, battery labs, dynos, and even events. At the moment, planning can be painfully slow and unpredictable. When you speed that up, projects start sooner, people get hired sooner, and money flows sooner. Number 3, simple, clear rules for modification and small volume builders. Legal, safe mods and resto mods should not need a degree in bureaucracy to get them signed off. Boutique manufacturers and converters create high-skilled, high-margin work, but they can be strangled by rules designed only for giant mass-produced companies, right? Let the clever guys with the startups in the industrial parks make, build, innovate, restore, resto mod, and just excite the economy without constantly limiting what they can or cannot do. Number 4, back the motorsport and historic sector as proper export industries. Motorsport already turns over around £16 billion and employs 50,000 people. Historic vehicles contribute over £7 billion on their own. Treat those as strategic strengths, not hobbies that happen to pay some tax. Here is why all this matters. Manufacturing in the UK has a big multiplier effect. So the research suggests that for every £1 million of value added from manufacturing itself, you get about 1.8 million more elsewhere in the economy down the chain, supply chains and spending, servicing, maintenance, wages, whatever, all the rest of it. So basically, you're talking about 2 to 3 times the benefit in reality. I mean, clever economists than me will be able to explain that more, but apparently that's how it works. Now, let's be really conservative and just look at the 3 blocks, right? Adding up all of that lot, the manufacturing, the motorsports, historic, etc. And you get a roughly £64 billion of gross value added across these segments. If smarter policy and targeted investment help those grow by just 5 to 10% over time, you would be adding between 3 and 6 billion pounds of direct extra value with typical manufacturing style multipliers that could easily translate to roughly 8 to 18 billion pounds of extra economic activity a year across the whole economy. And just from that, the Treasury alone would be able to collect around 3 to 6 billion pounds a year in additional tax without raising a single rate. Crucially, without us paying it. And like I keep emphasizing, this is just one sector. This is just automotive. That's the beauty of growth. It pays for itself. All you have to do is stop choking off a sector that already knows how to export, innovate, hire, build, etc., etc. So we are talking about a realistic scenario where cars and everything around them add on the order of 10 billion plus pounds a year in extra activity and support tens of thousands of jobs. All without inventing a brand new industry from scratch, just by taking the handbrake off the one that we already have. I mean, look, this is a system, rightly or wrongly, that we currently live in. It's a capitalist economy that needs spending and consuming to function. We can have a whole other discussion about whether this is the right thing for the people and the environment of this planet going forward. But right now, this is what we've got. Now, a stealth tax takes money out of people's pockets and hopes that they won't notice it. It shrinks what you and I can spend day to day. That's the reality of it. And it makes businesses a bit more nervous about investing or hiring. A growth strategy built on sectors like automotive does the opposite. It puts people into better paid jobs, encourages companies to invest, brings in export income, and then the government naturally collects more in tax without constantly tinkering around the edges, stealthing stuff and grabbing money off you in really devious ways. And here is where I circle back to that main point again. I'm not saying that the car industry alone will magically fix Britain's finances, but it is a very clear example of something that we already do well, that already moves a lot of money and people, and that could grow faster with some fairly obvious changes. If the government can do that for cars, it can do it for other industries too. Engineering, green tech, aerospace, AI, gaming, medical, creative industries, etc., etc. You build a strategy where you grow productive sectors instead of just finding clever new ways to raid everyone's pay packet. This has got to be the right way. This way, you do not just close the financial black hole, you actually improve the quality of life. More opportunities, better wages, cooler stuff being built here in the UK, and yes, more interesting cars on the road. So with the budget days away and everybody bracing for the next wave of stealth and micro taxes, here is my little plea from the driver's seat. Stop thinking of cars as part of the problem and treat them as part of the solution. It should not be about constricting the car industry, but instead opening it up into an ideal template for others to follow. One that proves that if you invest intelligently, clear some of the pointless obstacles in front of us, and give it a stable roadmap, it can bring in billions, create jobs, and make people happy at the same time. The car industry alone will not save the economy, but it could show you how it can be done or how others can follow suit. Grow what we already know works. Let people build, race, restore, modify, and innovate. Help industry move, and the fat tax receipts will follow automatically. If the government really wants to plug its financial black hole without grinding everyone down, surely this is the right direction to go in. What do you think? Could backing Britain's car ecosystem properly be a better answer than yet more stealth taxes on your payslips and on your outgoings every month? Let me know in the comments what you think. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe on your way out. Make sure you share it with all your buddies who are paying taxes or worried about what's coming, and also share it with economists and let them comment. I want to hear from you guys. Let the experts tell me, am I right? Am I wrong? Am I barking up the wrong tree here? Or could this be the goose that lays the golden egg that we've been neglecting? Catch you all in the next video very, very soon. Shout out time, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, if you enjoy my content, why not get involved? Buy me a coffee. You can do that at either of these links. Or if you're watching on YouTube, buy me a thanks or take out a membership. It all helps. It really does.